This is the first time I'm presenting at API Days, and I'm really fortunate. And I'd like to thank API Days Hong Kong for providing me this opportunity to present at this event. The topic of my presentation is standardized APIs for global NAS services. So, without further ado, let me start off by introducing myself. My name is Divesh Gupta, and I am the Vice President of Technology and Sales Operations at PCCW Global. I have also been actively involved with the MEF forum. I have been the chair for the Test and Certification Committee at MEF, and I'll talk about what MEF does in a bit. Among my current initiatives at PCCW Global, I am instrumental in working with software development teams on projects relating to API standardization and development for inter-carrier sales business process automation for both buy and sell side. And also have developed a custom-made CPQ tool by the name of Quick Code. CPQ stands for Configure Price Code. And this tool is used internally by sales and pre-sales team to help respond to our customers much faster. We've seen improvements of reverting into for quotes to our customers have cut down from over 2 weeks to just a few minutes because this is all automated now. Okay, a bit about my company, PCCW Global. Our parent organization is Hong Kong Telecom, which is a leading premier ICT service provider headquartered here in Hong Kong. PCCW Global is an international operating arm under HKT. We operate a globally resilient high-capacity fiber optic network, which spans multiple countries around the globe. We operate 135 of our own POPs. We have invested in submarine cable capacity. There are 67 cables that we either have capacity or we own and operate. Some of these ourselves. If you put in aggregate, these cables run in excess of 700,000 kilometers around. So that means like about 18 times around the globe. So you can put that in perspective and see the length and breadth of the network that is being provisioned all over. It's a carrier grade network. And you will see in my slides also the mention of Console Connect. So around 5 years back, we acquired a Brisbane-based company called Console Connect, and this brand has become our technology brand now. It is called Console Connect is the global software-defined interconnect platform that is developed by PCCW Global, and it provides automated on-demand network as a service to our customers, so the NAS services. It also offers secure, reliable, and flexible connectivity, mobility, and security services between data centers or data centers to cloud or data centers to internet exchanges. I'll talk about that subsequently in my presentation today. So that's about the introduction. The agenda for today. So I have two topics I'd like to cover and try and squeeze that in the time I've been given. First one is the introduction to the NAS services provided by Console Connect. We'll go into the market drivers, what kind of services we offer, and also particularly what APIs that are offered that you can leverage to further your digital automation journey. And then I'm going to speak about the API standardization effort that is being done under the MEF forum. So with these two topics in mind, let's get started. So first of all, I'll talk about market drivers. What led us here? Why did we go in launching a network as a service to our customers? Well, if you look at the digital service providers landscape today, on the left-hand side, you see legacy incumbents. These are traditional telecom companies which offer what we call dumb pipes from point A to point B. And these are typically fixed bandwidth, fixed term circuits or connectivity that takes a long time to provision, typically 2 to 3 months. And these are involved in long sales cycles. Whereas if you look at the onset of cloud adoption in the last decade, or probably over the last 2 decades, we've seen hyperscalers and digital natives eating the lunch from legacy incumbents, so to say. What do I mean by that? Well, hyperscalers are companies who are like Amazon or Google or Microsoft Azure, IBM Cloud. These are companies which have large scale cloud deployments, and they provide these services on demand and on a very flexible pay as you go means. From Gartner's statistics, you could see even in the last this year and the last, uh, enterprises have increased their spending on cloud services 20% year on year. So the previous year, which we just closed, 2022, the annual spend approximately was 490 billion US dollars, which has gone up to 591 billion in 2023. um, Digital natives. Okay, the second segment from the right are companies which are SaaS and application providers whose operating models all very similar to cloud. So pay per use, these are platforms that are deployed in cloud and consumed in cloud. Companies like Zoom, Salesforce, Dropbox, to name a few. And here you see the trend over the years is that enterprises are moving up to 95% of their workloads on to applications which are going to be in the cloud. And so, if you look at enterprise customers, they are very tuned to using services which are on demand, and they can be easily uh, uh, upgraded and downgraded, and they need the same kind of level of flexibility when it comes to network services. So that's where digital incumbents come in. So we saw this need coming in way back, more than 5 years back, when we actually invested in Console Connect. And So we've moved from a legacy incumbent to a digital incumbent as a company. We have digitally transformed ourselves. We are providing NAS services to our customers these days. What does that mean? It means high agility, flexibility, and instant provisioning, on-demand provisioning, and pay-per-use, which is very similar model that is adopted by digital natives and hyperscalers. Moving on. So, what are these network as a service attributes for a typical telecom operator who's looking to provide these services? So, if you see, it has to have flexible consumption model, as mentioned, on demand. You have to involve software SDN and NFV in your network so that you can provision networks more seamlessly, and they are software driven. So those features can be extended to our partners and customers. Open APIs, cloud native, and security. These are some of the attributes for operating NAS services today. And on the left side of the screen, I'm actually discussing what kind of products and services that PCCW Global is offering today. And over the last 5 years, we have incrementally added more and more of these services. So ports, the physical connect, once you connect onto our network, you can then provision any like a layer 2 Ethernet connection from point A to point B. Layer 3 connection can be a full mesh where you have multiple sites onto our network. Internet on demand is another service of ours where you can totally automate provisioning of our tier one IP transit network through our portal or through APIs. And gradually, we've added applications on our portal, which are actually as a result of integration with our ecosystem partners. So some of these are the most prominent among them is the software-defined cloud interconnect, where you have an ability to interconnect with a public cloud, but on a private dedicated link. I'm going to talk about this in just a minute. And there are others on a similar lines, like in IX as a service, where you have internet exchanges which we connect directly to, and we can provide lowest path in terms of PGP to these exit points from our IP network. SaaS, application as a service, and then security, edge port, and edge SIM. These are services we have built over the last 5 years as a result of integration with our ecosystem partners. So, without taking too much time, I would just share the one relevant one here, software defined cloud interconnect. And there, you see here, these are cloud operators. For example, Amazon offers Cloud Direct Connect. Microsoft Azure uh, provides Express Route, and then Google has a similar cloud interconnect model. These are dedicated connections that we have built through our presence from where our POPs are based into networks or cloud hyperscalers, and we allow easy access to onboard on ramp to these clouds from within our network. So that's one of the offerings that we are providing today. Okay. So whatever services we are offering here, APIs are heart of our platform, and you will understand this in a minute why I'm saying that. On one side of the equation, there is increased demand from enterprise and wholesale customers. These are, for example, IoT, proliferation of IoT devices, 5G infrastructure has been spreading, and edge cloud has been expanding over the last few years. There is a requirement for low latency, high security connectivity between, let's say, remote sites or IoT devices in the edge, where the workloads are emanating from these endpoints, and they need to be connected um, to cloud, hyperscaler cloud networks, where you have abundant supply. So one side you have increased demand, the other side you have abundance of supply in terms of cloud infrastructure, where you could host storage and compute, and you can use them on demand. Our network is sitting right in the middle. Our platform is offering software defined cloud interconnects where we are leveraging our network, which is now fully automated and it can be consumed just like a cloud service is. There's a network as a service, and we expose APIs both on the side from where the traffic demand is coming in, and also APIs to the upstream cloud providers where you can on ramp or off ramp your workloads into cloud. So when it comes to how is all this made possible? Well, it all starts by ordering a port. So when a customer comes to our portal, they can select either a user data center where they're available, or in many cases, enterprise building, and we would have an API for you to connect that service. You could order a port, and by ordering port, you are available on our network. Once you are on our network, you have the entire ecosystem of our partners and our own network available at your fingertips. So you can provision any circuit and then change any attribute for that circuit on the fly. Why does this matter? What has changed from the past? So if you see in the table below, in terms of contract terms, we have gone in from fixed locked-in contracts, which typically used to be 12 to 24 or even 36 months long, to agile pay-as-you-go model, which provides you immense flexibility. Capacity-wise, it used to be a fixed contract, fixed bandwidth kind of a contract, where you're now moving into an elastic user-specified bandwidth. It's just an attribute in the API or on the screen that you can change, and based on your requirements. I'm going to share a use case which comes into that. So ease of use, instead of doing a lot of emails, calls, or coding, you can just use our self-service open APIs to instantiate any of these services that I'm talking about. And lastly, the speed. It took, as I mentioned, months sometimes to provision these circuits. Here, once you have a physical port on a network, the provisioning of A N to B and connectivity, be it a layer 2 or layer 3 or layer 4, layer 3 or a layer 2, is real time. And so the provisioning time has gone down several folds. Okay, so now let's talk about some few specific use cases that we have in order to understand better how you can use these NAS APIs in your development journey. Okay, so let's talk about how you can integrate Console Connect Next NAS services via APIs. So typically, the advantages that you would get by doing so would be to automate your network connections seamlessly, and also to save on time and improve your efficiency, and also accelerate your digital transformation process. So the first use case I'm going to come up with is API-driven SDI, software-defined interconnect fabric. Here is a use case where a customer is requiring to run a cloud backup. So, for example, let's say a customer in a data center in Shanghai is running a cloud backup, which is positioned in AWS cloud in Singapore. Typically, if you move data out of a cloud, there would be a charge which is called egress charge that a cloud provider would typically charge you. And if it's not a dedicated connection, you might be up for a big amount of charge based on the usage time and also maybe the data that is transferred. But here, what we could help you with is Console Connect has, as I mentioned, developed a direct interconnects with all of these major cloud house hyperscalers. In this case, we expose the endpoints that are connected both on our networks from point A to point B, and also the API that allows you to provision interconnect with a cloud operator is also exposed. So those are the NAS APIs that you would use in this scenario. And so you could potentially run a backup script which pumps up your bandwidth from 50 megs to 500 meg if that's the requirement for this backup task to be completed. And you could enforce that within the script. And once the backup task is completed, you could bring back down the bandwidth from 500 to 50 meg. This could potentially save up to 30% of your egress charges that would have actually been charged by the cloud provider. So here you have bandwidth on demand, and of course you could use that to your advantage. And this is only possible because you have network API that we expose and that can be consumed by our customers. Another use case here is for a hybrid cloud environment. A lot of our customers have applications that reside in multiple clouds. They might not all be in Google or not be in IBM cloud altogether. In these cases, and they have a good amount of business critical applications which are still available on their private cloud that might be on their data center or their own premises, and they need to move data between these public and private clouds. Here, what we have is because we have multiple backend interconnections already established with these major cloud operators. In each of those, the way of interconnect is different. If you were to go and interconnect, first of all, you need dedicated connections to all of them, which itself is a difficult task. And then you have to look through the complexity of building connections to different clouds because each of them have different dedicated APIs, proprietary APIs. Here we are providing consistent experience with a stable API endpoints to our enterprise customers. So the key attributes for such APIs would be the bandwidth required to interconnect, the time, how long you need to connect that connection, the customer, the destination cloud provider, and the API key for the cloud connectivity. Using that, you could kind of simplify deployments which are across multi-cloud environments. So how do you get started using these APIs? First of all, we have a free Console Connect community that you could connect by visiting www.consoleconnect.com. You can sign up yourself, and you will see all the price listings for our forwards connectivity there, and you can collaborate with the community here. I'm going to talk about developers community, which supports both our internal and external um, members in the community. This predominantly is a community built across establishing connections to cloud or to applications. So if you have development needs there and you want to interact with other companies or individuals which are also working in the same projects, you can exchange your views, ideas, and this would help you in your development efforts. An API component map. I'm just giving you a high level of how we're set up. So if you look at the common services, these are the standard services under the hood: single sign-on, CRM, CPQ, ticketing, order management. All of these services are available in the backend, and the settlement piece is for billing and settlement and invoicing. These are our backend OSS and BSS systems behind the API gateway. Partner integration is of importance, considerable importance, because all those cloud operators that I showed you, and many of the connectivity operators that we have interconnected in the backend, those are the ones that we expose through our meeting place, and our customers are able to order services which are not just on our own fiber backbone, but some of these services are from our cloud partners, our network partners, and application partners, which we have integrated in the backend. So that's the partner integration block here. Then we have a API gateway, which exposes all of the services that are offered today through our Console Connect brand, the NAS services. And then we expose many of these services through external marketplace. We work with standard bodies such as TM Forum, GSMA, C-band, and MEF for standardizing our APIs. I'm going to talk about MEF in a little more detail just after this. But just to show you a quick overview of where to find these APIs, we have the handle is api.consoleconnect.com, and we follow the RESTful style of APIs. So you can see the CRUD functions here, the authentications. We use OAuth 2.0. Then you have okay, so this is an inventory API where you can see retrieve all connections, update connection, basically all those standard functionalities that are offered through APIs. Provisioning APIs would allow you to create a new connection and call a connection that has already been provisioned. And then the slide just shows you the configuration for various different products that we have for layer 2, layer 3. You can go and order a port, order a connection, and all those kind of services are available. So you can, these complete listing of these APIs are available on our developer portal online, and you can find them there. Okay, so next part of my presentation would be on the MEF update. So MEF Forum is an industry association of 200 plus member companies. These are predominantly network providers, cloud providers, and technology providers. They come from all over different regions. You see 44% North America, 23% APAC, 24% Europe. So there's a mixed bag. And as I mentioned, these are a mix of technology, service, and cloud provider companies. Typically, they work together in defining telecom standards. Historically, MEF has been very active in defining the carrier Ethernet standards, both for service providers and for equipment vendors. Of late, MEF has gotten into the definition of SD-WAN and provided a certification service for SD-WAN as well. And MEF LSO framework talks about interface reference points, IRPs, between a customer and a retail service provider and an ecosystem partner. So retail service provider would be one who's actually interfacing with an enterprise to provide end-to-end connectivity. Part of that service might also be extended to an ecosystem partner. For example, I just showed you in a use case where we are connected to a hyperscaler or AWS in this case. So we provide a cloud on-ramp, or it could be a last mile provider providing connection from a data center to now, MEF has done a wonderful job in defining these interface reference points and then attributes required for exchange of parameters when you're buying or selling or doing a business function between them, and then defining an API around that. So what are those business functions? So if you see the MEF LSO, Lifecycle Service Orchestration, business and operational APIs are revolving around these processes. So product catalog lists a list of what all products are available by a company. or a telecom operator. All of these services start with address validation, where you specify your location, where you need probably a connectivity service or a interconnect with a cloud or an IX. And then it goes on for ordering, quoting, ordering, inventory, and all that. So each of these business processes has APIs built in, and happens to help bridge the gap and provide these in a standard function. Now I'm moving towards a little faster, and just wanting to make sure that you understand why the standardization of APIs is so important. So if you do not have an interoperable API or a standard API, what happens is a retail service provider would connect to a downstream provider in variety of different ways. That's what's happening today. So each of these providers might be having different level of automation. If they don't offer an API, they might just have an email interface open. Some of them have ASRs, some have web portal, and then some have custom APIs. You see, it takes a lot of time and effort to implement any kind of automation between a carrier to another carrier if this is the state of the affairs. But if you move to a fully operational standardized API, the same retail provider can have a single API handle with which they can onboard multiple partners for different type of services that they are trying to offer to their customers. So here you see you have high fidelity APIs which are interoperable, and it would save time, cost, and it would be much more scalable. So that is the key, I would say, importance of standardizing these APIs. MEF presented the LSO Sonata adoption forecast in June earlier this year. This is a report that is available on MEF.net site. And there they're tracking the number of service providers that are engaged with MEF, and they're adopting these standardized APIs in their lifecycle orchestration or in their digital transformation journey. As you see from the current quarter, H1 2023, there are about 32 providers, and they're expecting that this number of providers adopting these LSO Sonata APIs is only going to increase over time. By 2025, it is going to reach 103. Now, these are some of the big names which are a member of MEF, and they are adopting these APIs in automating their business processes. If you want more information, you can get to mef.net, and you will get more. You can get information on various APIs that MEF has to offer. There are events that multiple times a year that you could come and join. There are podcasts available from MEF to provide you more information here. With that, I come to the end of my presentation. Thank you so much, and I'd like to pass the time to the MC. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Divesh, to share about the network as a service. So the next one, we have Dylan, Chief Architect, Senior Tech Staff Member, IBM Event Automation at IBM.
The API Connect Hong Kong 2023 conference is powered by bNovelty Limited. Check out more API-related education content on bnovelty.com or apidays.hk for more information.